Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah? Anybody else?
Everybody.
One more time. Blah, blah, blah. I'm honestly so glad to be here with y'all today. If you're new, we have some bathrooms over there in that other building. That's also where our kids will gather later in the service. And if you do have kiddos, we've got some name tags for them. So if you haven't gotten that, go ahead and do that. Again, thank you so much for being here. Let's get started. Would you stand if you're able as we begin to sing? Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. You are speaking truth to power. You are laying down our souls, replanting everything new till the brand new wine is poured. Your peace will make us one. I've seen you in our own fires, burning with a quiet love. You are mothering and feeding the wee eyes of the night. Your gentle love is patient. You will never fade us out. Your peace will make us one. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Your peace will make us one. In the beauty of the lilies, you were born across the sea. With a glory in your bosom, is still transfiguring. Dismantling our empires till each one of us is free. Your peace will make us one. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Your peace will make us one. This is my mother's word. To my listening ears, all nature sings and around me is the music of the sea. This is my mother's word. I rest in the dark of rocks and trees, of sighs and seas. Her hand of wonders high. This is my mother's word. The birds their carols raise, the morning light, the lily white, declare their Maker's praise. Oh, this is my mother's word. She shines in all that's fair. In the rustling grass, I hear her pass. She speaks to me everywhere. This is my mother's word, and let me never forget that though the wrong seems far so strong, she is the healer. Oh, this is my mother's word, and when this is, oh, this is my mother's word, and when my heart is sad, all nature sings, let the heavens ring. God reigns, let the earth be glad. Would y'all sing with me that love reigns? Love reigns, let the earth be glad. Love reigns, let the earth be glad. Love reigns, let the earth be glad. Did y'all know that when a group of people are all making music together, that their brain waves sync up?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah? Who said?
Is that science?
That's science. You can quote me on that.
It's not entertaining.
I was supposed to be deep, guys. It's yeah, that's one of the reasons why it matters so much that we gather, and that's why it matters the words that we sing. when you're singing, every part of your brain is working. And not just singing, but music in general lights up every part of your brain. It uses your whole body. It uses your heart, your emotions, your thought processes. Everything works together. And I love that we can come together and we can, as the body, that we can embody these values that matter so much to us. So it's just a little nugget for y'all. Amen. Thank you. Yeah. So here we go. Keep going with our service. Come thou fount of every blessing, to my heart to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. And teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mountain, face upon it, fount of thy redeeming love. I was lost in utter darkness, till you came and rescued me. I was bound by all my shame when my soul can sing a new song. Now my heart has found a home. Now your grace is always with me, and I'll never be alone. Oh, to grace, how great a lover, daily I release to thee. Let thy goodness, like an anchor, bring my wandering heart to thee. Through the day and through the darkness, safe above and safe below, I will sing this song of freedom, tethered to the healing flow. And through the day and through the darkness, safe above and safe below, I will sing this song of freedom, tethered to the healing flow. I will sing this song of freedom, tethered to.
Hello. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Is it on?
It is. I just gotta play with it a
That's
little
all right.
bit.
How's everybody doing this morning? Great. Yeah, it's very wet outside. Okay. In your guide, there's a section of the scripture for Aurelia's sermon that Matt is going to read in a few minutes, and then you'll get to hear from Aurelia. I don't actually know anything about her sermon, so if this somehow fits or lines up, great. Fantastic. If not, oh well. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Buddhist monk, a spiritual teacher, and peace activist. Oh my gosh, look at that. No, how would I know that? He has a lot of writings and talks and speeches and things like that that have been turned into writings over the years. Aurelia gave me this book, so shout out to you. And in these three quick pieces come from his collection called How to Fight. I know that can sound a little counterintuitive for a peace activist, but I think that's kind of the point of the title. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. For many of us, this week has been a really long couple of years. So with both the sermon text compelling us to remember our need for each other and these thoughts from Han, I hope that for me, and I hope for you, if you need it, we'll be able to remember the humanity of everybody that we interact with and allow that to lead the ways that we interact with them. And so in these first couple pages of this short collection, he says, opening the door, never in human history have we had so many means of communication. Television, radio, telephone, fax, email, the internet. Yet we remain islands with little real communication between us. When we cannot communicate, we suffer. Your brain. When you travel a neural pathway over and over again, it becomes a habit. Very often that pathway leads to anger, fear, or craving. 1 millisecond is enough for you to arrive at the same destination, anger, and a desire to punish the person who has dared to make you suffer. The mind and the brain are plastic in nature. You can change your mind, your brain, and the way you think and feel. With practice, you can create new neural pathways that lead to understanding, compassion, love, and forgiveness. Mindfulness and insight can intervene, redirecting you down a new neural pathway. So suppose someone has just said something unpleasant to you. Their words and the sound of their voice give you an unpleasant feeling. You believe they're trying to make you suffer. Of course you feel the desire to react, to say something back. You feel that if you can express your anger, if you can make them suffer, you will get relief. Most of us react in that way. But mindfulness can help us pause for a moment and become aware of the anger building up in us. Stopping gives us a chance to acknowledge and to transform our anger. When we feel anger, irritation, or indignation arising in us, we pause. We stop and come back to our breathing straight away. We do not say or do anything when we are inhabited by this kind of energy, so we don't escalate the conflict. We wait until we are calm again. Being able to pause is the greatest gift. It gives us the opportunity to bring more love and compassion into the world rather than more anger and suffering. I could have used this information earlier this week, and that's fine. And perhaps moving into the next couple of weeks, I will remember it as I remember this idea that we are part of each other. We need each other. So right now, I'm going to lead us in our communion liturgy, our prayer. If you can read along either in the bold, in your guide, or in the highlighted on the screen. God is within you.
God is also within you.
Lift up your hearts. We join in the beloved community. Let us give thanks for the blessing of life.
Together we raise our voices in gratitude.
God, thank you for today, and I'm thankful for the reminder that I am not alone. I don't act alone. I don't operate alone. I operate as part of a group, whether that's people who live in my home, the people that I work with, the people that I'm in community with here, the friend groups, whatever the case may be, that I need them, that they need me. From time to time, I may react in a particular way to something someone says or does to me when I remember their humanity, the Imago Dei in them. I'm reminded to pause and take a moment. Amen. Great is the mystery of faith.
Christ has reimagined death,
and we join him in bringing heaven to earth. We are going to move into our communion. And if you're unfamiliar, we'll start at these front rows and move to the back. and you will see our wonderful communion servers. And you'll practice intinction. So you grab the piece of bread and you dip it in the juice and pop it in your mouth hole. Anybody is welcome to participate. There's no barrier to participation. If you would like to join us, we have an open table theology. So we'll start here in the front row and move back.
Sure as the stars shine above, sure as the river runs through the valley of
Our communion bread is gluten free.
Thank you.
earth is full of goodness, good in each glimmer of light. The secret you paint into every sunset, a song you sing every night. No, I don't wanna miss it. Oh, open my eyes. I know if I go looking, I'll find you every time. The whole earth is full of patience. All hope begins as a seed. If you took your time and made the blue mountains, I know you will be patient with me. 'Cause the whole earth is full of mercy. It feels like you water with rain. And like the wild lilies that spring up on a hillside, you like the grove out of my pain. No, I don't wanna miss it. Oh, open my eyes. I know if I would go looking, I'll find you. Yes, I'll find you. So everything's singing. Oh, I'm singing along. I know must be what I'm made for, to try the ocean song. The whole earth is full of your glory. I feel it ring so true. I'm looking into the eyes of an adder. I know I am looking at you. So I don't wanna miss it. Oh, open my eyes. Yeah, I know if I go rise forever. Once through the valley, your heart is full of your love. The whole earth is full of your love.
We're gonna sit right here on the floor and tell a story. Or on my lap. Actually, how about you sit over here and help me do this? Hi, kids. I'm Brandon. What are y'all's names? I'm getting ready. I think I'm gonna. Is it okay if I sit down here with y'all? Because this is a little lower than I was thinking through. Let's sit down back right here. All right, right. Can y'all see my story book that I'm working on making right here?
Okay, I cannot.
Yes. What does it say? So this is a story that I started writing, but I didn't finish it. So can y'all help me finish it today?
Yeah.
Awesome. The story is called The First
Bible.
The First Bible. And this is Francis. Francis is a guy who lived in the, correct me if I'm wrong, 13th century? We're getting some head nods from people who went to seminary, so we're going to say 13th century. So what is his name?
Francis.
Francis.
Frank.
He lived a long time ago, and Francis really liked the Bible because the Bible can tell us what God is like. But Francis knew that God created something else that tells us what God is like before the Bible. And he called this the First Bible. Do y'all know what the First Bible was? What Francis thought the First Bible was?
Nature?
Yes! Nature. Cozy said nature. Let's give Cozy a round of applause. Nature, God's creation, everything he made was the first Bible because it's the first thing that he made that tells us about what God is like. So, I'm trying to write a little story here about Francis going to see what God is like through nature. So when Francis saw something like, I'll tell what this is. Me and Harris drew this. What is this?
Bird. A bird.
So when Francis saw something like bird, which is nature, God's creation, Francis said, this can help me understand what God is like. So Francis might have seen a bird, and what do y'all think a bird tells us about what God is like?
God can fly and he's really powerful.
So bird might tell us that God can fly and is really powerful. That's a good, I love that. So maybe a bird tells us that God can, we're going with this, God can fly and is powerful. Do you think a bird is powerful?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. What else might a bird tell us about what God is like? Lots of birds. Yeah, so maybe God is in lots of things. Okay, so maybe there's a lot of God. What else might a bird tell us about what God might be like? Anybody but Harris.
Dang, God values
God values freedom. I love that. All right. So just looking at a bird. That's right. That's right. So just looking at a bird, we can learn a whole lot about what God might be like. So this is as far as I drew. So what else might Francis or us do? I'm going to have us listen for a little bit, okay? This is the perils of your son, your own kid.
Sorry.
Part of the sermon. Francis have seen that God made
Hippopotamus.
that we could put here. Yes.
Maybe day and night.
Day and night. Woo. How do we draw day? Okay, what should we draw for day? A sun.
Oh, I already draw some.
You did. You did on the first page. What about for night? A moon. So Francis.
So I think a full moon.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, Brandon.
I thought that the symmetry might be confusing if it's a full moon. So Francis might have seen that God made day and night. What would day and night tell us about what God might be like? What do you think?
He understands nature and he knows lots of things.
He knows lots of things. So God, she knows lots of things.
So
I love
wonder
that.
that happen in the full moon.
Some people say omniscient, but I like knows lots of things. What else might looking at day and night that God made tell us about what God might be like?
God is funny.
Yeah.
Funny, yes. God has a sense of humor.
They
I
are.
love it. Okay, let's do.
God
what do y'all
looks
think?
like
One-
cheese.
Yes, what else?
God looks like cheese.
What's your name? Harper had a really good one. Day and night might tell us that God is always with us. Because it's always either day or night. Gosh, y'all are really. Let's do one more. What else might Francis have seen that God made? Yes. Let's listen to this.
He made the universe.
All right, this one's gonna be harder to draw. How would you draw the universe?
I would draw like an arc,
Oh, what?
an arc.
I like. Thank you for simplifying it for me.
Like,
We're just gonna draw the earth. We're gonna draw some continents, some land.
that's
right?
good.
Okay, so God made the whole earth. Yes, buddy. We're tying it. We coordinated with Mallory on the song. The whole earth. What might God have created the earth tell us about what God is like? Who does? Somebody who made the whole earth. What would that person be like? God did it.
Creative.
Creative? To make the earth, you probably have to be pretty creative. Anything else?
Big.
Big. God must be big. What's that? God is, I was about to say pro-life.
We'll say life-giving. Life-giving.
All right, that's really good. Okay, so somebody. So what? Oh, we're going to France. So what? What always? So God made the earth. What else did we say God made? A bird. A hippopotamus. There's a
Day
bird.
and night.
Day and night.
Day and night.
With a full moon or crescent moon. We had a tree in there somewhere. There's a hippopotamus being yelled out. Hippopotamuses have ears.
Hip-hop Anonymous, yeah. This is going places.
God is strong, it says. So we, just by looking around at some of the things, yes, Connor.
Yeah, I think all
God
of
is
those
detail-oriented. Guys, I'm gonna have to cut it off there because y'all are noticing so many things just by looking at a few of the things that God made. Strong, detail-oriented. I'm hearing a critique coming in about my hippo. Yes, Felicity. I already know.
Hippo has a horn.
Oh,
That's a rhinoceros, bro.
rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros.
So can y'all see why Francis called nature? So do y'all remember our friend's name here? Francis. So can y'all see why Francis called nature God's first Bible? Because just looking around at nature, did we learn a few things about what God might be like? Yeah. So today in Kids Church, we're talking about creation and what God made. And we can learn so much about what God must be like by what God made. Thank you all for helping me think about some things that God made and learning about what God is like through that. We're going to line up or shuffle out with Miss Kendall and Miss Ashley and anyone 10 years old and under. We're going to walk out that way over to the kids' church. Thank you all so much again. If anybody wants this book, I'll sign it for you and you can take it. All right, but we're going to walk with
So you used to be a lurker. We want to get to know you. It's time for a deeper look.
Woo! Thank you. Yeah. That's my favorite part. Hello, everybody. This is A Deeper Look with Anna Westbrook. If you are newer to our community, every week we like to pick somebody and do a deeper look at who they are. And so we have it's always the same 3 questions. So if we ever ask you and you're scared, it's the same 3 questions every time. So this is Anna, and I'm going to ask you to start by just telling us who is Anna? Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So I'm a storyteller, and my medium right now and for a while has been through musical theater. I am a composer and a playwright, so I do sounds, and I produce my own works, and I make all of the sounds that the people say. That's the playwriting, and all of the sounds that the instruments do and the people sing. So I do have a degree in the sounds, and I really enjoy. No.
Okay.
No. But yes, I have a degree in the sounds. There was some. There's a lot of different ways that you can show up when you have a music degree, and so my degree was specifically in music composition, and I chose not to pursue that full time because you do it on other people's timelines, and I like to go very slowly. So I built a private music studio. I teach piano, guitar, voice, and songwriting to children. I don't teach grown-ups. I don't like to adapt the way I talk about music for grown-ups because I adapt the way I talk about music to each individual child, and that's enough. Hence why I'm willing to tell you I have a degree in sounds. I adapted a little bit for you on request. I love my job, and I have been described recently by a teenager as average.
Oh,
Which I think is high praise. You have to consider your audience.
For Ohio, they use the word average. I feel like
Average.
that's a win. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, mid in Ohio are current young people slang for average. Okay, whatever. I asked if that's what it said on your degree because sometimes Hillary and I have to tell people that my degree just says Bachelor of Arts in Bible. My sister called me a couple weeks ago because one of her children was insistent upon something that was like, it says this. And she's like, well, call your uncle. And she's like, tell my kids what it says on your degree. It just says Bible. But I think your degree, can you get a Sharpie and just be like, sounds?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
Let's do it.
This is about you. So what is something that we wouldn't know about you unless you told us? A quirk, a deep, dark secret where the bodies are hidden. Something that we wouldn't know if you didn't tell us.
Okay, so I want to know who is a pastor's child here? Raise your hands. There's a lot of you. I challenge you all to a churchiest church kid contest. And I know that I am actually the churchiest church kid here because I was the literal poster child for Creation Fest 1996. Yeah, I have a photo of me and my friend in pigtails running through a field on the poster for Creation. It's a festival about how God created the earth. It's in Pennsylvania. Where else would it be?
Yeah.
Show us proof.
Well, she'll put it in.
Where's the poster?
I do have a picture as proof, and I when I was looking at it before I when I was thinking about this,
Yeah,
I
she
was,
texted it to me.
yeah, I was like, this is the proof. And I was like, yeah, who would have thought that
Well, put it in the Facebook group. I'm sorry.
I was like, who would have thought that little, church kid would grow up to be kicked out of church camp during the council and leadership program
Yeah. been there.
for being too silly.
Yeah.
So, just, we grow.
Yeah, we do.
Girl, we change. Anna, this is our last question that we always ask is, what is giving you life? What's bringing you joy? What's getting you out of bed in the morning these days?
I have a cat.
All right. And sometimes that's all you need. Love it. High five. Thank you, Anna.
I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? It's good to see everyone's faces. Okay, this morning, I appreciate this guy that's up here. This morning I am going to be leading us through prayer. It is a breath prayer, but I'm also going to be playing my sound bowl up here. I also just wanted to say how much I enjoyed the kids' sermon this morning. I often, if you've heard me preach, will incorporate talking about nature and how it relates to us and how we can see God through it. You all have likely heard me sing as I preach as well. And this morning I have a sound bath for us. But I feel like my pulpit has been expanding. So a lot of you all likely know that I am also an energy worker. So working with the energetics of our body, but also for me, that's been expanding into herbalism, so foods, nature, and how the energy of food, herbs, plants can help us and be more embodied through our wellness. So my shameless plug is I have fire cider. Yeah, has anybody taken fire cider before? Okay, do we know what fire cider is? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not gonna take all the time explaining what fire cider is, but it is an apple cider base and apple cider vinegar, and it has fiery elements in it like jalapeno, onion, garlic, also oranges, lemons, lots of different fiery elements that help warm up the body, and it helps in the wintertime to keep us from being sick. So it helps us not get a cold or the flu, but it's also good for your digestion. It's also good for just helping you build up your immunity. So if you want to know more, ask me after service, because I got you. But as we jump into this prayer, which is a breath prayer, I am going to give us space to just deepen into the space where we are. So give yourself the chance to get settled, find a relaxed pose where you sit, and start to focus on your breath. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just notice how your body feels. Notice where you might have any tension in your body. Not wanting to correct it immediately, just noticing how you feel. Continuing to breathe and take a deep breath. And as you breathe, taking the sounds of the root chakra bowl connected to our first energy center, meant to promote groundedness and helping us find our center. As you breathe, as you hear the bowl,
also listen to these words. Breathe in the breath of God. Breathe out your cares and concerns. Breathe in the love of God. Breathe out your doubts and despairs. Breathe in the life of God. Breathe out your fears and frustrations. We sit quietly before the one who gives life and love to all creation. We sit in awe of the one who formed us in our mother's womb. We sit at peace, surrounded by the one who fills every fiber of our being. Breathe in the breath of God. Breathe out your tensions and turmoil. Breathe in the love of God. Breathe out your haste and hurry. Breathe in the life of God. Breathe out your work and worry. We sit quietly before the one who gives life and love to all creation. We sit in awe of the one who formed us in our mother's womb. We sit at peace, surrounded by the one who fills every fiber of our being. Slowly come back to the space, opening your eyes when you feel ready. But just continuing to breathe, noticing how you feel. All right. We're going to continue. Everybody feeling all right? Good. I see some very relaxed faces. So I'll welcome Matthew as he reads 1 Corinthians this morning.
Hi, friends. I'll be reading 1 Corinthians 12 through 26. Thanks, Aurelia, for such a beautiful text. The human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. So it is with the body of Christ. Some of us are Jews, some are Gentiles, some are slaves, and some are free. But we've all been baptized into one body by one Spirit, and we all share that same Spirit. Yes, the body has many different parts, not just one part. If the foot says, I'm not a part of the body because I'm not a hand, that doesn't make it any less part of the body. And if the ear says, I'm not a part of the body because I'm not an eye, would that make it any less part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, how would you hear? If your whole body were an ear, how would you smell? But our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where he wants it. How strange a body would be if it only had one part. Yes, there are many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, I don't need you. And the head can never say to the feet, I don't need you. In fact, some of the parts of the body that seem weakest and least important are actually the most
So God has put the body together such that extra honor and care are given to those parts that have less dignity. This makes for harmony among the members so that all the members care for each other. If one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And if one part is honored, all the parts rejoice with it. We hear the voice of God in the reading of these beautiful sacred words.
Thanks be to God.
Good morning. So as I was kind of like lip reading to Matthew, I was saying, I didn't choose the text, it was in the lectionary. So this text was chosen long before any of us were thinking about this day or this sermon or anything like that. And I want to add some wisdom this morning. David, so funny that he was like, I have no idea what's in your sermon. He was kind of teasing me because I didn't have a title, so there's just no hint at all of how to prepare for communion. Well, I too borrowed a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh to start my sermon from the same series. He chose how to fight, I chose how to focus. But I do have a slide for it, so those of you who are visual, like myself, can see it. I'm going to read it though. This is a reading titled, Be the Sovereign of Your Territory. So imagine there's a country that doesn't have a government, a king, a queen, or a president. There's nobody around to take care of the country. The country needs a government. It's the same with ourselves. We need to be present in our territory, to take care of it, because our territory is large. It includes our body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. We need to be the king or queen and govern our territory. We need to know what is precious and beautiful so we can protect it. We need to know what things aren't so beautiful so we can fix and transform them. As kings and queens, we need to become aware of our responsibility to see that we need to be the sovereign, to return to our territory and take care of it. Thich Nhat Hanh, peace activist and Buddhist monk, by the way, he passed in 2022, talks about the self here, using this metaphor of territory needing governance, which is to say, attention and care. And indeed, here's what I am learning, and I believe it's a lifelong kind of lesson that will require lifelong practice. I am learning to take care of both my bodies, my territory, and the body, so beautifully described in today's reading. And I am learning that I cannot offer much to the body if my own territory, my own self, is neglected. I believe that our internal thriving is crucial to any sustainable contributions we can make in the world, which means, for me, I must do things like daily face my own thoughts and feelings, my own healing. I must do things like daily listen to my body's cues and then give it what it needs. These things require my attention. And so, in order to care for myself, I need fuel. I need energy. What's more, the investment of prioritizing this care is worthy because when I'm well rested, when I'm joyful and hopeful, when I am well, I am able to function as a part of the body, capital T, in ways I didn't even think possible. I am able to show up in this world with things like clarity and creativity in tow, and I am able to move throughout my days with deeper purpose because I am more in touch with the ways in which, as Frederick Buechner once put it, my deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. My body and the body. Again, Greeting each day this way requires fuel, energy, a full cup. And here's the thing, I believe I deserve this. And I believe the same for you, image bearer, child of God. I believe this full and flowing cup is our sovereign right and responsibility. That said, in 2024, I discovered a slow leak in my cup. It was a bit of an epiphany. We're in week 3 of our annual Epiphany preaching series. We always do this time of year. It's a favorite of mine because we get to hear of so many different, from so many voices in our community, which is so important, right? So I love particularly the personal nature of the series. I love hearing people's stories and lessons. At the same time, I tend to find that when it's my own turn to preach, this series is one of the hardest because I can't really share any personal epiphanies without being vulnerable. And by the way, this isn't in my manuscript, but several people turned down preaching in this series for that reason. And it's hard to share when you're not sure if anyone is going to resonate. Like, will this be the day people start throwing rotten fruit at me? I just keep trying to remind myself, like all our sermons at peace, the ones in the series are not meant to be prescriptive as much as they are just offerings, us bearing witness to one human experience, and then, moving on to the next week. So, with all that said, here's something a little vulnerable about me. I have a really, really rigid relationship with time. Anyone else? Anyone? Oh my God, nobody? Okay, thank you for doing that. So encouraging. Just block that out of the recording so Brandon, right, okay. I really, really have a rigid relationship with time, and I really, really hate feeling like my time is being wasted. I have skipped classes in graduate school and gone to the movies when I felt like my time was being wasted, and I'm left in the middle of them. It's kind of rude, sorry. But here's the vulnerable part of that tidbit. This makes me a gigantic hypocrite because I'm almost always running late. And in fact, today I was the latest I've ever been to church in 13 years, 12 years. So I'm just so excited. Thank you. Thanks. I'm working on it, okay? No, but really, I'm working on it. Some people are more affected than others by my tardiness. But I'm actually working on a lot as it relates to time. I'm working on creating better rhythms and structures in my life so that I'm not creating rushed moments for myself. I'm working on my own confidence in hopes that one day I'll finally drop the imposter syndrome once and for all, and this will somehow help with my procrastination tendencies. In general, I'm trying to flow more and be less rigid in general, and I'm working on treating time as the sacred and scarce resource that it is. In all of this, I've been taking notice of ways that I tend to waste my own time. I'm not necessarily talking about indulgence, frivolity, or play, or fun. I'm not even talking about laziness, or open space, or times of doing nothing. And I'm not suggesting that I or we should always be productive, whatever that necessarily means. What I mean, at least today, by wasted time, is using our time in such a way that drains us of the resources we need to be well in the here and now. So for me, wasted time is anything that unnecessarily and perpetually drains me of things like hope and joy, of that inner energy that fills my cup. And like I mentioned earlier, in 2024, I discovered a slow leak, gradual but significant. One of the areas where I feel like I have truly wasted a lot of time is on social media. And I'm not even talking about the mindless scrolling, although I'm certain I've already lost years of my life to that, unfortunately. I'm speaking specifically to my own attempts to get people who disagree with me to somehow start agreeing with me based on the post I'm going to share on social media. Lots of time wasted, I fear. And listen, there's nuance here. And there's always going to be nuance. With me, with Brittany, you know, look it up later. But I'm sure there's nuance. I'm sure that there's a certain level of impact that I've made in my years on social media. But as those years go by, as social media continues to evolve, as political and social divides in our country continue to deepen, and as the metaphorical dumpster fire continues to rage on, I just get the sense that not that many people are really listening. And I get it because it's a lot, right? There's a lot of information all the time. There's so many takes all the time. And look, if you're one of those people who, I'm like trying to guess, who I know some, who aren't too active on social media and mostly you just live your real life, like, I love you. And I'm in love with you and I want to be you. You do you, you're my goal in 2025. And I'm so sorry you have to sit through this right now. It will be over soon. But these are stressful times for those of us who tend to be more active on social media. And this includes myself. So for me, there's just so much on my heart, on my mind, and there's so much good I want to do and see happen in the world. And I'm an external processor, damn it. Like many of us, I want to be a part of creating heaven. Sometimes staves off my sense of helplessness. But for the past year or so, I've also sensed another need, and this is a need to reevaluate my relationship with social media. What I share, how often I share, or how much time I spend engaging. Because if part of the problem is our differences, and if no one is up for listening to alternative opinions, then I might just be wasting my time occasionally. And I am learning that wasted time is also wasted energy. And I need and I deserve the energy. And you need it, and you deserve it. We need it to tend to the care of our bodies, our body and the body. To be very clear, I'm not saying social media can't serve as a function of important communication and awareness. It absolutely can and has and does and continues to and will continue to. I have seen the power of hashtags and online movements and mobilization to shape culture and educate and progress us forward in crucial ways. I have learned and I've evolved and I've taken action many times over because of social media. And also, this work of heaven on earth is big, hard work. We are up against domination systems of all sorts. We need to occasionally step away from the incessant commentary of the world and give time and energy to our bodies and the body. But with what energy? That slow leap is sneaky, it's gradual, but it's significant. So a question I'm wondering lately is, what is my end goal here? Because if I know my end goal, I can use my time a little bit more wisely. I could waste it, drain it less often. Perhaps I could restore some hope and some peace for the journey and tend to that slow seeping and make it whole again. In real life, I ask myself things like, what are my values? And then I live and I move according to those values. But if my litmus test for existing online on social media was what are my values, then I would become fatigued and exhausted, constantly trying to express those values all the time because there's so much good and important stuff floating around. So online, I have to instead ask myself, what is my end goal here? What am I hoping will happen by using my time this way? Am I sharing crucial information that may not be seen otherwise? Am I connecting with kindreds for the sake of support and uplifting? Am I simply needing to vent, and is doing so online genuinely helpful and energizing to me? Am I hoping someone who disagrees with me will see what I'm posting, read it, and change, or at least feel ashamed for a second? And if it's the last one, like, does that even work? My intuition tells me we're pretty far past that these days. Like, it actually did used to work, I think. But now, you guys, we've been around the block on social media. The feeds have long been curated. The echo chambers have been created. We've chosen our sides, what we see and what we ingest. We've blocked, unfollowed, and hidden the people that make us irritated generously. And if we haven't, they have done so to us. People aren't listening. Thread after thread, comment section after comment section, conversation after conversation, more often than not, differences are not being hashed out, heels are being dug in. And so, while sometimes some shares and posts still make it through my question system, which is obviously not perfected yet, I've realized that a lot of this, at least for now, is not worth my time or energy expense or nervous system dysregulation. I have territory to tend to. I have bodies to care for, my body and the body. Now, don't think I don't have my own anger, my own rage and grief. I've been disappointed by many things and many people for a long time. I've been deeply disheartened and discouraged about many things this week alone. And I will continue to have my own sets of cares and passions and hills I'm determined to die on. While I was writing this, I actually started to type some of them out, and then they didn't make it through my question system. Ironic. I'll just let you take your guesses. This isn't to say that there's no function or value, again, for collective conversations in the social media world. This is not an opt-out for the important role hard conversations take in heaven on earth work. For me personally, this is a reevaluation of a strategy that isn't working very well these days. And it's a realization that a huge source of my own lack of energy is not just the state of the world, but the constant conversation about the state of the world, around the clock, no boundaries, no breaks, no rest. One-way conversations are outpacing the actions needed to care for the body. Talk is outweighing the doing, the movement, the tangible acts of creating change. There has to be another way. So the thinking part of my epiphany today is the realization that I'm wasting a lot of my time and energy. The doing part is following the advice of Thich Nhat Hanh. It is actually daily attending to self in ways that will fuel me to show up so that I can function in good health, able to consistently contribute to the body. Capital B. All of this is hard, big, everyday work, and I need all my energy for it. And so wasted time that seeps my hope and energy, no matter how seemingly small in the moment, is not something I can afford to give away right now. Fun fact, I actually told myself, this was years ago, that I would stop commenting on other people's posts that made me mad. No, really, I told myself, if you are willing to type out these 3 paragraphs for this person who has no intention of changing their tune, and they're gonna skim it, then you know what? Put that shit in the paper, baby. I told myself I'm gonna write an op-ed instead. Every time I want to make this 3-paragraph comment, I'm going to copy it into my notes or my Google Drive or whatever, and if I really care about it, I'm going to write an article. This challenge felt more worthy of my time, more energizing and more impactful too. It's been a better way of using my voice in alignment with my end goals, and obviously I'm not perfect. All you have to do is scroll through my feeds. I am reminded, though, that part of living and moving in our God-given Imago Dei informed authenticity is not just remembering who we are, but remembering why we are doing the things we are doing, why we love the people we love, why we hold the cares and the passions and the convictions we do. This remembering is practicing presence, which is energizing because it's not rooted in being reactive. What flows out of this kind of posture requires our energy, our labor of love, and our work. But it is not wasteful energy. It's time and love spent wisely. From here, we discover how to proceed. And yes, some of us are external processors, and we're going to still be writing our poems and our books and our blog posts. But we will also put our time and our resources behind organizations we believe in. We'll move in our careers and in our daily work with more purpose that yields worthy results. We'll actively seek to be the best citizens and neighbors that we know how to be, and we will follow in the Christ path with renewed hope. And guess what? This kind of movement is going to look vastly different for any given person, because as the text says, we are many members, but the same body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. Or the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Can we respect that even if we don't always understand it? We're all different parts of the same body, one common humanity in our differences, our identities, our trauma histories, our impactful experiences and personalities will create vastly different perspectives. And we will take particular postures, and they will be incredibly nuanced. By the way, those socials and politicians and domination systems love it when we think otherwise. They thrive when we think otherwise. And we will never get 100% of people, and I know that's an understatement. Not everyone will be our kindred. Our rage will be stoked daily. We will even when we don't understand it. Can we expand even just 1% and remember that at least according to the God we follow, we belong to each other? Mysteriously and miraculously and often annoyingly, we belong to each other. Whether we want to or not, whether we feel like we actually do or not, we are all members of this family called humanity. And personally, I'm weary, tired of functioning as half a body. We're mostly operating these days as half a body, and they, whoever they are, whoever they is for you, are over there and they're operating as half a body, and everyone is suffering. This same suffering that drains us is the fuels for the powers that be. Domination systems thrive when we function half alive. And something's got to give. Someone has got to start seeing that spark of Imago Dei in the whole body. And I want to know, who's it going to be? Is it even possible to have that kind of radical Christ capacity? I don't know, but my best guess is that it won't be cultivated from a place of exhaustion. So here's my prayer. My prayer for us in these winter months is that we would give our time to the things that give energy, to the good work that gives energy. Give energy and not drain it. Give hope and joy and not drain it. From this place, may we know what is precious and beautiful so we can protect it. Know what things aren't so beautiful so we can fix and transform them. Become aware of our responsibility to see that we can move in our sovereign right as children of God for the sake of our bodies and the body. May it be so. Amen.
What a lovely reflection of all of the souls who have shared today. Thank you to everyone who has shared in any big or small way today. As we get ready to go, let's stand as you're able, and we've got another song for you. When I feel a warm wind blowing, melting all the sadness off of my soul, and I smell the sweet cherry blossom, pouring all the gladness into my soul. In winter, I believe you. In springtime, I see you. It's so good to be with you. My hope has come. God, you make all things new. Your love is not now I sing hallelujah. My hope has come. Now through the valley of the shadow, and I have been tested like silver and gold. Your faith has taught me to cherish that this life affliction is not my home. In winter, I believe you. In springtime, I see you. It's so good to be with you. My hope has come. God, you make all things new. Your love is my breakthrough. Now I sing hallelujah. My hope has come. In the winter, I believe you. In springtime, I see you. It's so good to be with you. My hope has come. God, you make all things new. Your love is my refuge. Now I sing hallelujah. My hope has come. We sing. Now we sing hallelujah. Our hope has come. We sing. Now we sing hallelujah. Our hope has come.
Love that song. We have a little moment, you guys. I'm gonna call you up in just a minute. First, I want to say some nice things because Matthew and Brittany, two of our pastors, are rolling off of staff officially today, and this is their moment of just thanks. By the way, like, people show up. Like, we have pastors all through the years. They show. It's not like they're never around. You know, it's not goodbye. It's just goodbye from some things. Anyways, I didn't find this part out. But I want to say some nice things because these two have really shaped so many beautiful things about our culture. First, let me start with Brittany. I searched for the oldest pictures I could find of your time with us, and weirdly, you've been with us since 2017, but I got to 2019, so I don't know what was up with that. Anyways, I don't know why we were praying for you here. No.
That's when she was moving to Pennsylvania.
She moved to Pennsylvania for a spell.
Someone said
Okay, but you guys, I just want to say, like, Brittany has been around for a long time, helping us, shaping our culture. Markers of Brittany, from her spoken words, she's just singing in every sermon. You'll have to go to our sermon podcast and look up all her sermons. She is singing, and her sound healing prayers, her healing through herbalism, her energy work, her dream work has all infused our community with innovative, deeply healing modes of worship. And we're just so lucky to be in your proximity. We love you so much. But these are some photos from the early years, and you can see our previous location pre-pandemic there. Thank you. Matthew. Guys, look at this.
Sweet baby Matthew.
These are the first pictures I could find of Matthew, Matthew's a founding pastor, which, by the way, today is our 12th anniversary of public launch. 12 years today, this Sunday. And Matthew, there on the left, that was our first day we ever met. And then on the right, Matthew was the first. We've had 10 people ordained in this community. Matthew was the first. Matthew, also shout out to Anna Swisher, Randy, Matthew, of course, and Lyle. Those are founding members that are still here right now today. But Matthew created our name. We actually used to have a different name, and it was dumb, so we were like, let's change it. We all like put in ideas and like voted, and Matthew named Peace of Christ Church. Matthew is the writer of our benediction prayer that we pray every week. He wrote that. He who wrote the communion liturgy? I feel like Matthew and Fran and myself collaborated. Matthew wrote our baptism catechism, which I'll tell you more about in just a minute. Spearheaded that whole thing, grounded us. I mean, Matthew truly has been the one who grounded us in like this, like real, like gritty, like this is our local community. Let's care for the local community. Just to name a few. And both Matthew and Brittany are lovers of the earth and really teachers of treating the earth well and practicing gratitude and love of nature and God in nature and for the land. And yeah, so sorry. What is the next slide? Is that it? There's really no words, you guys. So I know you'll still be around here and there, but we want to say thank you. Randy is going to help, and David here, if you guys will come up, because Matt was like, don't get me gifts, and then I just ignored that comment. Don't steal my joy.
I don't know.
I just need to, I wanted you to present Matthew with his basket. Founding member to founding member. Yeah. Hey, you guys, are the baskets heavy? It's because there's a giant book in there. I should put this in slides. Every gift in there has a symbol, okay? So there's a giant book in there about trees, and it's a coffee table book. Yeah, there you go. There's some tea. There's a journal, and there's also a gift card for each of you to your local garden store. Different, they Cedar Park and Georgetown, so they're different. But I want to read over you. I wrote a blessing using the gifts, and this is our blessing for Brittany and Matthew. These gifts represent blessing after blessing over you. When you look over them later and use them beyond this day, remember these words. May you continue to write, shaping stories of beauty and hope in this weary world. weaving words that inspire and uplift. May you be like a steadfast tree, offering shade, steadiness, and a quiet strength to all who are drawn to your presence. May you faithfully carry on the work you were so clearly created to do, nourishing the soil of your life, cultivating goodness and healing in your family, your community, and beyond. And may you always tend to your own spirit, filling your cup daily with the joy, rest, and hope that sustain you, drinking deeply from the well springs of life that refresh your soul. We, Peace of Christ community, give thanks for the countless ways you have lived out these gifts among us, nourishing our community with your wisdom, your care, and your steady presence. Through your work, you've cultivated so much beauty and healing and goodness in ways that will continue to grow and flourish in this community long after this moment. We love you. Amen. Just doesn't feel enough, but I'm going to move to announcements anyway because this is way past our usual. Okay. Need extra kid. Oh, let me say this one first. We need extra kid help to tear down. So after we're done, the people who usually help with this tear down and all of us like stay here. But if you don't usually help, if you could go over to the kids building and help. Is there a point person that's helping that knows how to do it? Just come over and they're going to figure it out. Okay. Next week is Feed Your Soul Sunday. Every first Sunday we take a pause and a breather. So no church. Oh, this is our fundraiser. And if we don't sell 50 hoodies, then what?
17. The goal is 50, but you have to do 17.
But it will not print if we don't sell 17.
Okay, well, we're at 9, so y'all need to step up.
Yes.
Here's the thing. It doesn't have our name on it, but it does say Imago Day all day.
Hey.
And I just think that's what. So if you guys can order, please, that would help us. Because I really want my sweater. If I can't get it, you'll order one. Basically.
Just order 8 more.
And also help us fundraise for this community funded, whatever. Next slide.
Got it.
Okay, we have our baptism cohort interest meeting right after this. If you have a school-aged kid who expresses curiosity or you think would find meaning in this journey, and it's a beautiful journey, go to the interest meeting right after church in the kids' building and hear more details because it's really amazing. And please become a volunteer, but we forgot the clipboard, so you can't.
No, okay. It's pinned in the Facebook group.
That's such insider language. We'll talk later. I'm just kidding. Your donation sustains the life of our community because we don't have, it's just us, y'all. It's just us. And the fundraiser helps, or you can scan that. Okay, Jana.
All right, if y'all want to join me for the benediction liturgy. This one was by Matthew. All right, so. And it's off the charts. All right. Lord, you are ascending God. You sent your word to create. You sent Christ to reveal. You sent your spirit to empower. You sent your church to proclaim.
Send us, O God, to renew the earth. Lead us by your spirit and your word. As your people, we now go. By our peace will make you known.
People of God, you are sent. Go in peace for peace.
Would you sing as we sing this verse one more time? This is my mother's world. Oh, let me therefore forget that
heavens ring. God reigns, let the earth be